Finland consistently ranks as the happiest country in the world, and their children score highest globally in education. Yet Finnish parents rarely use timeouts, they don't believe in reward charts, and punishment is almost unheard of in their parenting culture. When I learned about their approach, I was skeptical. How do you raise well-behaved, successful kids without traditional discipline? Then I spent time with Finnish families and implemented their core principles with my own children, and within a month, the constant power struggles disappeared. My kids became genuinely calmer, more cooperative, and happier. The second principle completely transformed our household, and it goes against everything American parenting culture teaches us. If you're exhausted from battles and punishments that don't work, hit that like button and subscribe, because these Finnish parenting secrets are backed by incredible outcomes, and they'll change how you see discipline forever. Let me start by explaining the fundamental difference between Finnish parenting and what most of us do in America. In the US, we focus heavily on controlling behavior through external motivators. Rewards for good behavior, consequences for bad behavior, praise, stickers, timeouts, and taking away privileges. The goal is compliance. But Finnish parenting operates from a completely different philosophy. They believe children are inherently good and capable, and the parent's job isn't to control behavior but to guide the development of internal self-regulation and intrinsic motivation. The difference is massive. The first Finnish principle is trust and freedom within clear boundaries. And this blew my mind when I first encountered it. Finnish parents give children enormous freedom and trust from a very young age, but within a framework of non-negotiable safety and respect for boundaries. Finnish kids as young as first grade walk or bike to school alone. They play outside unsupervised for hours. They make many of their own choices about clothing, activities, and free time. This seems wild to American parents who hover and micromanage, but here's what happens in the child's brain and behavior. When children are trusted and given freedom, they rise to meet that trust. They develop independence, confidence, problem-solving skills, and genuine responsibility. But the key is that this freedom exists within clear, consistent boundaries. Finnish parents don't negotiate on safety, respect, or basic family rules. Those are non-negotiable and calmly enforced. But within those boundaries, children have autonomy. This creates kids who are internally motivated to make good choices because they've been practicing decision-making, not kids who only behave when someone is watching or threatening consequences. I started implementing this by identifying what truly mattered in our family: safety, kindness, and basic cooperation. Those became my firm boundaries. But I let go of control over so many other things. What my kids wear, how they play, when they do homework, and within reason what activities they choose. Suddenly, we had fewer battles because I wasn't trying to control everything. And my kids started making better choices because they had practice and trust. The second principle, and this is the one that transformed our household, is problem solving together instead of punishing. When a Finnish child misbehaves, the parent doesn't immediately jump to consequences. Instead, they sit down with the child and problem solve together. What happened? Why did it happen? How did it affect others? And what can we do differently next time? This approach treats the child as a capable thinker, not a problem to be managed. In practice, this looks completely different from traditional discipline. My son hit his sister over a toy. My old approach would have been an immediate timeout or taking the toy away. The Finnish approach I learned was to first make sure both kids were calm, then sit down with my son and say, "You hit your sister. That's not okay because it hurts her body and her feelings. What was happening for you right before you hit?" He explained that she took his toy. Instead of lecturing, I asked, "What could you do next time when you're frustrated about a toy?" We brainstormed together. Use words, ask for help, walk away, and calm down. Then I asked, "Which of those do you think would work best for you?" This conversation took maybe 5 minutes, longer than a timeout, but here's what it did. It taught him to think through his actions and consequences. It gave him tools for next time. It kept our relationship intact because I wasn't shaming or punishing, I was guiding. And most importantly, it built his internal capacity for self-regulation and problem-solving. Finnish parents believe this is the actual work of parenting, building capable humans, not controlling behavior through fear of punishment. Comment below and tell me honestly, do you rely more on punishments and rewards? Or do you already do some problem-solving with your kids? I want to hear where you're at. The third Finnish principle is emotional acceptance and regulation support. Finnish culture doesn't view big emotions as bad behavior that needs to be shut down. All feelings are acceptable, though not all actions are. When a Finnish child has a meltdown, the parent stays calm and close, helping the child move through the emotion rather than punishing them for having it. This is exactly what research on emotional development tells us children need: co-regulation from a calm adult. I used to send my kids to their room when they were having big emotions because I thought they needed to calm down alone. But Finnish parents do the opposite. They stay present. They might say, "You're really angry right now. I'm going to stay here with you while you feel this." They don't try to fix the emotion or make it go away. They just hold space for it. What this teaches over time is that emotions are manageable, temporary, and safe to feel. Kids who grow up with this support develop much better emotional regulation than kids who are punished or isolated for their feelings. The shift for me was recognizing that my child's tantrum wasn't manipulation or bad behavior. It was an overwhelmed nervous system that needed my help to regulate. When I started staying calm and present instead of reactive and punitive, my kids' emotional episodes became shorter and less intense because they weren't fighting me and their emotions at the same time. The fourth principle is equality and respect in the parent-child relationship. Finnish parents don't parent from a position of power and authority where the child must obey simply because the parent said so. They parent from a position of mutual respect. They explain reasons for rules. They listen to children's perspectives. They admit when they're wrong, and they treat children as people worthy of dignity and consideration. This doesn't mean kids are in charge or that there's no leadership. Finnish parents are clearly the guides and decision makers, but they lead through respect rather than dominance. In practical terms, this means explaining the why behind rules. Instead of "because I said so," it's "we hold hands in the parking lot because cars can't always see small children. And I need to keep you safe." It means apologizing to your child when you make a mistake or lose your temper. It means listening when they disagree and sometimes adjusting based on their input. This approach creates children who respect authority because they've been respected, not because they fear punishment. They cooperate because they understand and agree with the reasons, not because they're scared of consequences. The research shows that children raised with this kind of respectful partnership have better self-esteem, better critical thinking skills, and healthier relationships throughout life. The fifth principle is prioritizing simplicity, nature, and unstructured time. Children have lots of free time to play, explore nature, and just be. Finnish culture deeply values time outdoors in all weather, and this isn't just for physical health. Time in nature and unstructured play are crucial for emotional regulation, creativity, and stress reduction. I was overscheduling my kids with activities, thinking I was giving them opportunities, but they were stressed, overwhelmed, and honestly less happy. When I cut back to 1 or 2 activities and prioritized free outdoor playtime every day, everything shifted. They were calmer, more creative, and less whiny. Their nervous systems needed that downtime and that connection to nature. Here's what happened when I implemented all 5 Finnish principles consistently. Within 2 weeks, the atmosphere in our home changed. There was less yelling, less tension, and fewer power struggles. My kids became more cooperative, not because they feared punishment, but because our relationship was based on trust and respect. Within a month, I noticed they were solving problems on their own more often, managing their emotions better, and genuinely seeming happier and more confident. The beautiful thing about the Finnish approach is that it is actually easier than traditional discipline once you make the mindset shift. I'm not constantly managing behavior through rewards and consequences. I'm not engaged in battles. I'm guiding capable humans in their development, which feels so much better for everyone involved. If this approach resonates with you and challenges what you've been taught about discipline, please share this video with another parent who might need a different perspective. Drop a comment and tell me which Finnish principle surprised you most or which one you want to try first. And make sure you resubscribe because we're rebuilding a community of parents who are willing to question mainstream parenting culture and try approaches that actually create calm, confident, happy kids. Thank you for being here, for being open to different ways of parenting, and for prioritizing your child's long-term development over short-term compliance. Finnish parents have figured out something important. Raising genuinely good humans matters more than raising obedient ones, and it turns out you can have both when you do it right.